Hello, and welcome to the top of the world. Snow's arrived, a bit late, but anyway, see you now. Is this the final? No, it isn't. It might stay as the first layer in, but the ground's not frozen enough. It hasn't been cold enough, so anyway, it arrived late last night. Well, no, it wasn't even late last night. I was still in the middle of doing something quite important. We're doing something quite important now. Got the smoke pouring out my chimney. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, so all this carry on with the car. How am I feeling? Well, I'll say it again, and I thank you all for your wishes of get well soon and hope you're feeling better. Here I am, just dumping out the chicken shit. Right. I don't know where the hoofdies disappeared to. So I can't remember when I filmed. The one you saw, Saturday. Saturday was just a bad day. Saturday was the realisation, which I knew was coming, the car was no good. I didn't realise how bad it was, but anyway, it was no good. So there's an upside and downside to that. I suppose the most important thing to remember out of all that was how much I paid for it and how long we've had it. Anyway, so we went right to the wire. Today's the day it went into its driving ban, which means it can no longer be driven. If you fail an inspection and you haven't represented it within 30 days, it gets a driving ban. It's not permitted to be driven until it's re-inspected. And I couldn't fix it. So that left me yesterday. And I'd been quietly looking for a replacement for the old van since the van went, but it's not been a great summer. When something happens like that at the beginning of the summer, it's devastating because obviously there's no money. I haven't had a chance to earn any money, and my stocks get depleted as the winter goes on. So, and as a quick reminder, there's only 16 to 18 weeks a year to which I can make any money. And I don't make a lot, so we have to be really careful and thoughtful. Anyway, I couldn't really find what I'd call a suitable replacement, and there wasn't quite enough money to do it anyway. And then when the car went, well, I had my back against the wall. Then I have to go to my Sarah and I say, we have to go in on this together because I can't do it. And the car, I bought Sarah the car 4 years ago. So it's been quite a good car. We just servicing it. Anyway, of course, that was done. So I'd found this vehicle about a week ago. And I kept looking at it, and I kept weighing up the costs and working out what extra insurance it would be, if any, and the things you do. But I couldn't quite make the figures work out. I just couldn't quite make the figures work out. So this kind of weird miracle happened yesterday. Is it a miracle, or do I do it myself? Anyway, something quite unexpected happened. What you can't see behind me, behind that curtain, is the replacement for the car. And it started snowing last night as I'm putting the winter studded wheels on it, which I'd already put on the car because you can't, it's just too risky. So I'm a bit late, but anyway. So I picked this thing up yesterday, drove it back on the summer tyres, and I was in behind, well, this green curtain wasn't pulled. I was in here putting the last of the wheels on when the snow came, and I was just like, what a lucky. So we've got a replacement. We have got a replacement, quite exciting. Quite a bit newer than the van and the car, and we don't have a car. And we have to go to the hospital now because I have a medical for my higher driving licence. Every couple of years you have to have a medical to make sure I can keep driving the big stuff. So we're off to do that, and I'm going to tell you this story on the way. So how did yesterday go? Fascinating. This vehicle that I'm driving, I've been looking at for maybe 2 weeks. And it was right at the very top end, right at the very, very top end of what I thought we could scrape together. And if anything went wrong, we would be in trouble. Now, what I haven't told you is what's potentially on the horizon. And I haven't told you because It hasn't been completely agreed yet, although it's been agreed in principle. And in order to do this thing that I've got on the horizon, I needed my van. Well, we all know what happened to that. Could I have done it in the car? No, not really. And certainly not in the winter. Would I normally work in the winter? No. Right, my working times are May till September. After that, you can't work outside, you can't do a lot of things, and you can't work inside unless you've got a house fully heated, and that's really not my thing. So I wouldn't normally take on any work in the winter. However, this is different. This is very different, and I've had to scale what I think is possible back for the customer, which is just the way it is. Anyway, so yesterday morning, off we goes to town in the car that's 24 hours away from his driving ban, and I've got an amount of money that I want to spend, and I've got an amount of money that I can spend, and there's quite a bit of difference between the two. And the car, now the car's not coming back. The car's either got to go to the scrapyard, or I can pull off one of my Simon deals. Now, I've been wheeling and dealing and trading since I was 10 or 11, and I made a living at it. I made a good living at it, and even when I was amidst my career and didn't need to do it, I did it on a much bigger scale with companies and stuff. So I have a good background in coming out the right side of whatever it is I'm going to do. However, since I've been here, right, things are just not that. They're just not. So off we goes to town to look at this said vehicle, and I had a figure in my mind what I wanted to pay, and I didn't know whether this guy wanted the car. He didn't know I was bringing the car. I took the paperwork for it, which made him smile later on. Anyway, so I'm looking over this, and it's not quite. It's got some damage underneath, and it's a bit bad on the outside. Not bad, but it's just not that nice. Although, what drew me to this was it's reasonably new, and it's low mileage, or low mileage for these regions. So vehicles in these regions have high mileage because everywhere is 1,000,000 miles apart. Anyway, what I liked specifically about this vehicle was it had 3 seats in the front, which is good for Casper. Right, the other thing I specifically liked about this vehicle, it wasn't too small and it wasn't too big. So it's about the size I needed, and if you haven't already guessed, it's definitely a van. Look at the lovely seat I'm in. What a nice driving position. What have I got? Lots of glass. So much glass, Casper can lay down and look out the windows. So the vision for a van is really good. It's got some nice big mirrors, both of them electric, both of them work. In fact, it's got a lot of electrics. Windows are electric, both sides, and they work. Have I found anything that doesn't work on this vehicle? Yes, the interior light doesn't work. And it's also got a bulb out on the back. Anyway, so I'm looking around this vehicle, and it's got a real sweet engine in it, a real sweet engine. Not something I thought I was going to have to buy again, one of these. Anyway, so I was dealing with a young man, and the older man comes out, and he's quite nice to deal with, and he's asking me about it, and I tell him everything that's wrong with this. Everything that's wrong with it. And he knows this, of course. And then he starts telling me about how many people have called him, right? Rubbish. He's had it for a month. No, they haven't. And calling's one thing, turning up with the cash in your pocket, that's how you do a deal, right? You don't do a deal with a promise or a phone call, or a poke and a prod, and then to walk away. So after I looked around him and said, well, I'm kind of interested, but it's got all these faults, I then showed him my car. Right? I said, you got any interest in this? Right. But before he had a chance to look around it, I gave him the inspection failure sheet, so he knew everything that was wrong with the car. That's the first thing I did. Right, so now he knows what he's looking at. He knows this has failed its safety inspection, and these are all the reasons why. And then he did a silly thing, and he went and put his head in the window. Well, of course, he got met by Casper's teeth coming the other way. So Sarah raked him out of the car, started the car, he had a quick look around it, and then he asked me what I wanted for it. Well, I'm too long in the tooth for that game. So then I started telling him everything that was good about it, right? Because he's read everything that's bad about it. And then he asked me again what I thought I wanted for the car. and does it have any summer tyres? Well, of course I take my summer tyres off because Sarah's just bought them new. I can sell them for what she paid for them. So I said it has. I said, but I'll take them out. They're not part of the deal. I said, but it has got new winter tyres on it and it has got a new battery in it. And then proceeded to tell him what a nice little car it was. So he's asked me for a third time. So I said, well, this is how I need the deal to go. Right? I said, I'm really interested in that van there, and this is what I can afford to pay. Well, he says, and then I might have a little bit of cash in my pocket, and then I've got the car. Well, he asked me again how much I wanted for it. You know, I goes round and round the Marlborough brush on this one. Then he threw a figure at me. Well, I don't know how Sarah stayed standing, right? But me, I've still got my poker face on, knowing what he's just offered me is just below what I paid for it 3 years ago. And I'm thinking, well, he's made a mistake there. Surely he's going to mess around with figures and come down with a lower figure, and, well, he didn't. So I thought about it for about 4.5 seconds, and I shook his hand, slowly, right? Not in no rush. Off we goes, he does the deal. He does the paperwork to take the car from us, he does our paperwork for this. He takes my money, which is the lowest figure that I really wanted to pay for this. And we goes out there and collects Casper and what little bit we had in the car, because I'd already emptied it, put it in the van and drove off. Right? Well, I still can't believe that's happened. I still can't believe that's happened, because if I had a dream deal in my mind and the ideal vehicle that I needed, I'm driving it, and I got the deal I really wanted yesterday. So that means, despite the travesty that was what happened to the car, we've had 3 years free motoring out of that. In addition to that, that's been my van for a long time. We've been towing the trailer around. That's done all manner of things it shouldn't have done. That's towed things way, way, way bigger than it should have done. But we've come out on the right side of the deal. So then I'm thinking, well, is this been tarted up? And it has had a little bit of spray on the outside just to tidy it up, because it must have been a bit ropey. Inside, it is stunning. Right? There's a bit of wear on the seat. There is no damage to any of the plastics. There is no damage to any of the glass. Everything works, with exception to the interior light. I have a 2.2 litre turbo diesel injected engine, transverse, which means it's front wheel drive, that's a shame. Anyway, on a 6-speed, yeah, 6-speed stick shift. Amazing. I've got cruise control. I'm cruising at the moment. I don't want to show you how, my feet are. I'm sitting in an armchair. The gear stick's right up here, right by me. Stunning. Wonderful. The summer tyres on it weren't too good. And I put the winter tyres on it last night as the snow started to come down. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but there's snow on the floor. And they're okay. But the great thing about this is it has the same size tyres as the Volkswagen T4, to which I have a brand new set of winter tyres and a brand new set of summer tyres. So I have 2 more sets of tyres that will fit this vehicle. Well, I just can't believe it. And we still can't believe it. We had a laugh about that last night. I even had a celebrationary old dry cigar, just to make myself feel better. So once again, that's turned around. What's my load space in the back? Well, I've got 10 feet in the back. Right? 10 feet flat in the back. So this means that I might be slightly distracted here, because I've got some yellow flashing lights and some works going on. I think they are attempting to string some new power cables across the road. So we just have a cautionary moment here of things that are happening. Yeah, they're definitely doing something to do with the main power lines. So where was I? Yeah, so far I am so happy with the deal. So happy with the deal. Casper's happy with the deal. He's sitting there, he can see everything without even moving. It has 8 cup holders. And did I tell you it's got all the buttons on the steering wheel and all the other things? Now, by far not the newest vehicle I've owned, but by far the newest vehicle I've owned in the last 8 years. And the nicest vehicle I've owned. and it's got the Wabesco heater, the engine heater, everything it should do for an Arctic conditions. Side loading door, but that has got a broken handle on the outside, needs fixing. Twin doors at the back. It's white, it's plain, and it's got a Ford badge on it. So my history with Fords is extensive, absolutely extensive. I've owned more Fords than I can remember, and that's because they were plentiful and cheap when I was young. You know, and the European Fords, of course. I didn't get into the proper Fords until I arrived in the US. And what's my favourite truck? Well, it ain't a Ford. I'm a bit of a GMC fan, if I'm honest. 1968 C10 being my favourite of all. But I like the Dodges. Fords are okay, but I've had a few Fords, mainly older ones. So I've got a Ford, and I've got a van, I've got mid-sized, I've got 6 speeds, I've got everything is electric, everything's comfortable. Can this do the job that's coming up? Oh yeah. This is exactly what I needed and nothing less than this. You know, could I have managed in the car? I could have done, but it's brakes, so there's no point could have done. I don't know how I pulled that deal, or how that deal came together, but it was meant to be. Right, that was just one of those things that was meant to be. And that is one of the reasons I get so enthusiastic about my life, because it's always been like that. Always. I've taken some kickings. Don't get me wrong, I have taken some kickings, and I have had some wild successes too. So let life be a roller coaster and the learning curve be vertical. Embrace every day, right? And try not to do your 9 to 5, because your 9 to 5s, that never did anybody any good. Interesting actually, I never really put much thought into this whole 9 to 5, 8 till 5 thing. And of course it was, I can't remember his name now, but it was originally invented, the working day, like this, by an industrialist that had workhouses and wanted to get the maximum out of these slaves, basically. So he invented the split shift working day. What time you arrive, what time you stop, what time you leave. So we'll do the big reveal on the outside while we get back. But the driving position is really nice. It's very comfortable. Being a more upright position, or an upright seat position, you know, like a truck, much better for my back, so much better for my back. We have a nice heavy duty tow ball on the back with the associated electrics. The only thing it didn't have, right, and I bought this, and the very next thing I did was went straight to the machine shop sales place and bought my bit wobbly and bought my extra lights for the front. They've obviously taken the spotlights off. I don't know why they do that. Anyway, so I bought myself this time because I got such a good deal. Right, and normally I have to buy these old round ones with the old halogen bulbs. No, well, I've gone full hog, and I bought an LED bar, the same make as the LEDs I put on the tractor this time last year. Those great LEDs that have made such a difference while snow ploughing. Well, I bought a light bar for the front of this, because you've got to have it. You can't drive around in normal lights here. The forest, I know it's snow, right, but the forest sucks up the lights, and of course you have the old moose and deer issue. So when you're driving at night, you must have these extra lights. It's essential. And then last night I put the winter tyres on, or yesterday evening I put the winter tyres on, and she's winterised. So we're good to go now. Now all I need is the green light for this job, and I'll have this van paid for by Christmas. And I've got to have this van paid for by Christmas, or I say paid for by Christmas, because Sarah had to put half in with me. Actually, she put a little bit more than half in, so good for Sarah. It's the teamwork thing. Has she got a car? No. That obviously that Toyota, that was a car I bought her 4 years ago. So she don't have a car. So now we're back to one vehicle. Can she drive this? Oh yeah. She's driven bigger than this, much bigger than this, an awful lot bigger than this. In fact, I got a feeling she's driven my road train. Anyway, so she can drive this. It's really easy, and more so because it's more modern. So it is a 2016. So I thought that was really badly ripped. Actually, there's seat covers on there. There is a little bit of damage to the original seat. Otherwise, very nice. All the modern conveniences. Otherwise, it is what it is. You can see the light bar I've put on there now. That'll light up where we're going. A few little rust spots up there, but nothing major for its age. It'll do the job. It'll definitely do the job. So I know we've got this issue here. Right, I will need to fix that. As I like the side loading door, that's quite clearly had a bit of a dent in the side there that's been repaired quite badly, but nevertheless it has been repaired. You know, telltale overspray on the old light. There we go, it is what it is. It'll do the job. It'll give me my service van back. We'll have to rack out this side like the other one was. And then we've got a lot more room in this one. It is bigger than the Volkswagen, a lot bigger. Table, electrics on it. A bit more bad bodywork. But on the whole, it's quite good. And the winter tyres, the studs are there. The metal studs are definitely there. They work. We haven't had no wandering around or any problems today at all. And like I say, it's a nice place to sit. And Casper, he can lay down and still look out the window. So, yeah, we're all good. And I'm sure I've mentioned it, it's actually quite low mileage for a vehicle of this region, and the reasons why. So there we are, the great reveal. The new service van and work bus. Van. Yeah, I didn't think we would be going back to the old Ford badge, but anyway, it was a good price, so I got a good deal. And he wants his ball. So, the snow's melting, as we can see, which is quite good. I didn't think it would. I didn't think it was a stayer. But what that is a reminder of getting the chains on the tractor. Now, I don't think I've ever shown this before, but it's a right carry-on. Did I show you I moved the generator box to there? So that's our next job. Before the temperatures drop any more, get this out and get its chains on before we have an accident with that. So that's kind of me out the doo-doo, as it were, by the skin of my teeth. I'm off to fit some chains to that big tractor. No, I'm trying to film. So there we go. I pulled another one off. Don't know how I do it, but I'm glad I do. That's going to end the video for today. Thanks for joining me. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.